So we have something similar here as well. So we have y equals to 1 over square root of x. So again, the same similar approach. We're going to have this to be y plus delta y is equals to 1 over square root of x plus delta x, right? So what do we do here now? So we say y plus delta y minus y is equals to 1 over square root of x plus delta x minus 1 over square root of x. So we are going to have delta y is equals to, now we have two fractions we need to solve. So just like the other one, our LCM is going to be root x brackets. Then we have what? Root x plus delta x as well. Okay, so when we have this now, this we cut this and we're left with root x multiplied by 1. So we have root x now minus root x cos root x, and we're left with this, which is root open bracket x plus delta x. So one thing you should note with root is that we don't it cannot multiply this thing like that. So what do? We say delta y is equals to root x minus square root of root x plus delta x. Okay, I'm basically writing the same thing at root x, my open bracket square root of root x plus delta x. So we take from there. Let's see. So what we do next is that we are going to apply a little bit of a trick. And how does it work? So we are going to multiply both the top and the bottom by the conjugate of the numerator, and that is this. I'm going to say delta y is equals to root x minus square root of x plus delta x over root x open bracket square root of x plus delta x, now multiply by square root of x plus square root of x plus delta x over square root of x plus square root of x plus delta x. So that's what we have here now. So this is multiplying this just like your rationalization. So your delta y now is going to be now. So when we multiply this by this, let's just quickly apply the difference of two squares. So when you have your a plus b and a minus b, you know it is simply a squared minus b squared, right? So in this case here, we can have the same thing here. So what we have is this and this will have squared. So square root, because this is a minus b, a plus b, that kind of a setup of difference of two squares. So this is going to give me x squared. No, it's going to give me an x because root x times root x is x. Now minus, what do I have here? This times this is going to give me what? X plus delta x. So over, so because this multiplied by this will give me this. So now I need to really care about multiplying this denominator, and that is going to give me what? Root x. Now open bracket. So I can basically multiply what we have in the brackets together to get a single entity now. So I have root x and I have what? Root x plus delta x. So that's what we have here. Okay, so then it's multiplied by, what do we have here? Root x plus root of x plus delta x. So that's what we have about that. So now if you go on, we have what? Your delta y is equals to, now, so if you look from here now and subtract it, x minus x is a 0, right? So we are left with delta x. So from the distant numerator, we are left with delta x. So the part I'm really concerned about, I want us to treat the left side of the equation first of all. So you know, when we want to multiply this, we are left with what? Root x times this. I mean, on second note, I really don't have to fully expand everything basically, because all I just know is that by looking at the next step of what I want to do, I am going to take the limit of it. So, and in that case we take the limit to be 0, so I can basically leave the entire denominator in this form, and that's what I am going to do because I am lazy, right? So I really know what I need to do from there. Let me just put the exact same denominator there. So in this case, I know that I have root x, open bracket, square root of x plus delta x. Then what do we have next? I have this, which is root x plus root of x plus delta x, right? So that's what we had. So we can now do the division by of both sides. When you do so, that's multiplied by 1 over delta x, 1 over delta x. You should have delta y over delta x is equals to 1 over, what do we have here? So we have root x, open brackets, square root of x plus delta x. Yeah. Then we have root x plus square root of x plus delta x here as well. So what we do next is to take the derivative now, the limits rather. So dy dx is equals to lim of delta x tends to 0 of what we have there. So I hope this last time I'm writing this. So you know what, to avoid writing this over and over again, let me just write delta y over delta x. So by the time I'm just doing this, I just make my substitution again because I'm lazy. So 1 over, what do I have here? I have what? Root x, and I open bracket to have my root x plus 0. Then I open this other bracket to say root x plus a square root of x plus 0 here as well. So in those cases where I have 0, I have 1 over, and I have this, in this way I have root x multiplied by root x, now multiplied by root x in the brackets. So that's what I have in the left square brackets, right? So that's what this evaluates to. And on this right bracket, I have root x plus, this is root x. So I have this to become 1 over, now root x times root x is an x, right? So multiply by, now root x plus root x is going to give me 2 root x. So at the end of the day, I have 1 over 2x root x as my answer. So that is my dy dx. So that's what we have when we differentiate 1 over root x. I have 1 over 2x root x. So that's the thing. So that's what we have from this. So I believe this one took a while and it's kind of looking different. So perhaps you practice well on this particular idea. But the only thing that makes it different was that I kind of just multiplied both the numerator and denominator by the conjugate of the numerator. So that's a plus. So it is the rationalizing step, but then instead of working it with the denominator, we worked it with the numerator. So and that is how we have for the other things that we have in the question as well. Okay, so to make a teeny tiny correction to the video to the section you just watched, let's come over here. So when we open these brackets here, you're supposed to have x minus. So when you minus, open the bracket, minus x minus x becomes 0, and left with minus times delta x, which should be a minus delta x. So I only left the positive there. So by the time you divide both sides, this will become minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, of course, minus 1, and finally minus 1 over 2x root x, which should be the correct answer, and that is the correct answer, not the case with the positive. So that is what we have for this problem.